With the news on Iran. President Masoud Pezeshkian reaffirmed that the country is in no way seeking nuclear weapons and expressed hope that the international community, particularly the United States, would recognize this. The comments came as Tehran and Washington engaged in indirect talks in Geneva. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned the U.S. efforts to overthrow his government would fail, a sentiment echoed by U.S. President Donald Trump, who suggested that regime change in Tehran might be beneficial. Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi confirmed that both nations had reached an understanding on the main guiding principles during the second round of indirect talks, although he cautioned that a deal was not yet imminent. The two sides are set to schedule a third round of negotiations after exchanging documents. Retired Major General A.K. Savach is joining us in this discussion. He's a geostrategic expert. Thanks very much, General Savach. Two rounds have, of course, concluded, mediated by Oman. What is the likely outcome in your assessment?
You know, there is a hope because the two talks have taken place in Oman, and both sides, it looks as if both are working of reaching a consensus. See, as far as the US is concerned, along with Israel, the red lines are three. One is that Iran should not get a nuclear weapon, and Iran should not get involved in basically refinement of uranium, and that too weapon grade. The second red line is the US wants that the missiles which are there, their number should be reduced, as well as the range should be the one which the Iran can have it. And the third thing is the proxies like Hezbollah, Houthi rebel and Hamas, Iran should stop funding them. Now, as far as Iran is concerned, it is agreeing on the first demand, that is basically that Iran will not become a nuclear, Iran will not carry out any further refinement of uranium, and Iran is open for any inspection by IAEA. But it is not very keen to basically agree on the second demand, which is that the missiles number should be curtailed and its range should be curtailed. Because why the range is to be curtailed, the Israel feel that in case its range is curtailed, then the Israel will not come into their fire line. So therefore that is not acceptable to Iran. Iran says that it is out of question that they will agree on anything on missile. Missile is their self-protection. They will like to have whatever number of missiles they can have, and the range as well as the numbers they are not going to compromise. And same, they are not going to compromise on proxy. To me it looks like that on proxy, they may agree on certain things, especially on Hezbollah, Houthi. They may agree that they may not totally fund them. There's some sort of agreement. The hope is that the both sides, whether from the Iran and whether it is from US, you are finding a conciliatory tone. Both are showing as if these talks are progressing in positive manner. And the chances of some sort of solution are there. Remember that in case if the talks fail and US attack on Iran, it's not going to be Venezuela. Iran is going to strike back, and Iran is going to strike back with might because it has about 2,500 to 3,000 missiles, and which they can hit up till Israel and all the parts of Middle East, especially the bases of US there, and there will be a collateral damage to all these countries, whether it is Saudi, UAE, Oman, Jordan, Bahrain, and majority of these countries have refused to give their airspace to US, especially a country like UAE, Saudi and Oman. So the question is, Iran will strike back and strike back hard, and there is a chances of that American ships, which is the aircraft carrier group, basically Abraham Lincoln along with its destroyer and frigates, can also become a target because there are a number of drones, there is a number of other arsenal including missiles are available with Iran. Though America is also now trying to bring the second aircraft carrier group from Caribbean, and that is USS 4, but yet the Iran has this capability of striking back, and this US also knows. And what more Iran can do is that it can also block the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of world oil goes. Now remember, if that happens, there will be a chaos and confusion. The rates of oil will go almost about $20 per barrel more. And it will strike, and it will also hit the economy of China, because China gets the maximum oil from Iran from Strait of Hormuz. So the situation is quite complex, quite flex, but it seemingly looks like that the third talk which will take place in Oman, it may get some positive result. If it does not get positive result, we are heading for a war which is going to have a catastrophic effect in the complete Middle East, because Iran is not going to take on very lightly. In case if they are attacked by US, Iran will strike back. Iran will strike back with might to Israel. Also, you can say all the bases of US in Middle East. So I suppose US also knows it. So to me, it looks like
General,
that
how do you see the fact that, even while these talks are being held, there's a constant sentiment and in fact statements coming in from Donald Trump that the preferred outcome is to have a regime change?
My point is there can be a regime collapse. There can't be a regime change. Remember that regime change can't take place until there are boots on ground. US is not prepared to put boots on ground in Iran. Why I'm saying it can be regime collapse in case if US attack Iran and the losses are very high, and Ayatollah Al Khamenei cannot survive, or he is forced to die. Who thereafter? It will be IRGC will take on, which will be much more fundamentalist than that. Pezeshkian may not, the present president may not able to sustain, but if he also comes, it is not a regime change, it is regime collapse, and he will come. So the point is, what US thinking that there will be a complete regime change and a government which will be pro-US will come. It cannot come unless there are boots on ground, and the boots on ground US don't want, because there will be body bags which will be coming from Iran. Second, that till IRGC is with Ayatollah Al Khamenei, you can assure that nothing much is going to happen to Ayatollah Khamenei. Third thing, that Mossad and also the CIA agents which have infiltrated in Iran almost about 4 to 5 months back, they are not able to succeed completely. They have tried their best. They are the ones which were involved in raising these protests on the street, but the protests have died down now by and large. So therefore, thinking that there will be a regime change, I don't think it will happen until there are boots on ground. That US is unlikely. There may be a regime collapse, but that may not be in the interest of anyone, because a regime collapse will bring chaos and confusion in Iran, and anyone who comes thereafter may be more fundamentalist than the present regime of Ayatollah Al Khamenei.
All right, General, thanks very much for joining me here. Viewers, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has also reaffirmed that the country